All right, I am coming to you live from a Baltimore hotel room. It looks a little bit like I'm in a terrorist video. I promise you that no one is holding me hostage. I am safe. No one will do anything to me, at least that is what I'm told. As long as you behave, you will be good. I've got my guy John Campbell on here. I'm on the road. I want to give a shout out to USAA. I'm on the road for the Army-Navy game in Baltimore. I'll be at the game tomorrow. We have a lot of Outkick, actually cadets and people who are in school at both Army and Navy, so hope to meet some of those guys and girls. If you're watching this, then good luck, and hopefully I'll get to meet you guys as part of the game. So I want to go ahead and dive in here and give you our gambling predictions. I am in the Inner Harbor, like I said, in Baltimore, and I'm doing the show live tomorrow, the radio show live from the Convention Center tomorrow morning, 6 to 9 a.m. here at USAA. So I guess if you happen to be a fan of Outkick and you're in downtown Baltimore, I'll be doing the show live from the Convention Center here tomorrow, early, 6 to 9 a.m. You can swing by and say hi. Good luck to everybody. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and dive in here. Everything seems to be good. 3, 2, 1. Welcome into Outkick the Show. I am your fearless leader, Clay Travis, and I am joined now by the one and only Johnny Oddshark, John Campbell. He is the odds maker for Oddshark. Usually we have the Oddshark banner behind us, but we were on the road this week, so I can tell you without doubt, go to oddshark.com for all your gambling and informational related needs, and you'll be glad that you did it. So, since we are here, thanks again to USAA, this is a pretty intriguing matchup. Army-Navy, if you haven't been here, it's one of the great bucket list opportunities and items that I think every American sports fan needs to add. The line here, because we are gamblers, there's nothing more American than gambling on who's going to win Army-Navy. Navy, a 6-point favorite. John Campbell, over under 47.5. I'll be honest with you, I haven't bet this game yet. I'm open to suggestions, open to ideas. Anything jumping out at you one way or the other?
Yeah, well, the first one is just the line move in this one. This line opened at 11.5, and no surprise to me that number was bet way down. I think it's closer to where it should be at -6, but I wouldn't be surprised if it comes down even more. And that was the first thing that jumped out to me. Maybe won 14 straight and 17 in the last 19, and I think a lot of people are looking at this one as if this is the one that Army's going to finally win. So I think a lot of people are looking maybe to play the money line on this one. It's a standalone game, and it's a good little payout. And a couple of things that work in your favor here, if you are looking at that angle, Navy lost their senior starting QB, Will Worth, and senior running back Antonio Gully to injuries in the AAC Championship title game last week. That was a really physical game against a really good Temple team. So it's going to be a really interesting matchup. I think it's too many points here. I'm leaning towards Army in this one. I think it's going to be a real tough game.
Okay, so I'm going to decide if you guys have an opinion. I'm curious what your opinion is, Army or Navy, and what side you think I should bet. I'm going to bet this game before Saturday. So let me know what your suggestions are on that one. You can find me on Twitter, obviously, at Clay Travis. Let's talk a little bit about the big games. We're going to get into our bowl game preview sooner rather than later, but I haven't even made most of my gambling picks yet in the bowl game because I wanted to wait on the over-unders, everything else. So we're still kind of figuring out what makes sense there. But let's start with Washington-Bama. As soon as this line came out, John Campbell, I got it at 13.5. I jumped all over Bama. Let me explain why. I just think at home, basically, Bryant-Denny Stadium in Atlanta, it's going to be full of red. I don't think a lot of Washington people are going to travel. I think this is going to be a default home game for Alabama. It's now up to 16, which is a little bit more difficult decision. I think probably I'm going to be inclined to take Bama up a ways, and also I like the over, but I'm loving. Hopefully you guys followed my advice early and got in at Bama minus 13.5 because you got a good number and a number that may continue to rise. What do you see here in early action, John Campbell, and what do you think is likely to happen as we kind of move forward?
Yeah, real good move grabbing Bama at minus 13.5. I like that number as well. Not a surprise either. We saw a lot of money, roll that way for Alabama as well, and it's up to 16.5. I thought it would open actually higher. I thought it should have opened higher. I don't think books are surprised.
Where did it actually open? Yeah, there's always disputes about where it opened. What's the lowest number you saw a reputable book or offshore or Vegas book open this number at?
Yeah, it was right there, 13.5. There was some talk, I heard of a book opening early on before last week's game where games were played at 10.5, and I just, give me Bama all day at 10.5. That's just a crazy number in my opinion. But as this thing creeps up to 17, I think that's up closer to where the line should be, and I'm leaning more towards Washington at that one. And one of the things I like here, they have the number 1 turnover ratio in the country, and one of the best QBs in the country, Jake Browning, and I just think Alabama just two teams up on defense and scoring points on defense, and I just don't know if they're going to be able to do that against a really well-coached, really strong Washington team. So as that number continues to creep up, if you didn't get Bama early, you might want to wait, see if it climbs a little higher, and look at Washington if it keeps moving.
Okay, fascinating game, I think, in terms of gambling and also just to watch. Ohio State and Clemson out in the Fiesta Bowl. Clemson plus 3.5, Ohio State minus 3.5, whichever way you want to look at it. Over under 61.5. Let me tell you what I'm thinking. And I'm talking to John Campbell. This is Outkick the Show, the Oddshark Gambling Special. Go to Oddshark, ODDSSHARK, for all of your gambling and informational related needs. I look at this and say plus 61.5. I mean, 61.5. What you really have to decide there, and this is why I love betting over-unders, is who's going to predominate. What style of game is going to predominate? And to me, the way that Clemson played down the stretch offensively, it's almost like they just decided, screw it, we're going to have to outscore teams. We're not going to try to play possession style. We're not going to worry about running clock, anything else. We're just going to let Deshaun Watson try to make as many plays as possible. So my early inclination here is to take Clemson, Ohio State, just to play the over, 61.5. Well, what are your thoughts?
On that total, that number seems a little bit high to me. I love Clemson's defensive front, and I just think Ohio State, after that loss to Penn State, they really got their stuff together, especially in the secondary on defense. So I was actually leaning a little more to the under on that one, but I understand why you're going that way. Clemson plus 3.5. I thought this game should be closer to a pick. I think that there's going to be a real battle. So I really like Clemson here at plus 3.5. Clemson has actually been the best bowl bet in the country since 2012. They're 5-0 against the spread since 2012. So that's one that you might want to consider. This team just seems to win in these big bowl games when it comes to the postseason.
Yeah, I'm inclined. That it's always interesting for gamblers who may not get it. What's the difference that every point's not created equal, right? And my guy Todd Furman has instilled this into me over and over and over again, and I notice it a lot more now. The difference between 3 and 3.5 is massive. The difference between 2.5 and 3, 6.5 and 7, it oftentimes takes a lot more to get a number to tick up over a key line like that than it does, let's say, once the number's up. If it's 24, there's not necessarily that much difference between 24 and 27, just to randomly toss out a few numbers, as compared to 2.5, 3, and 3.5.
Yeah, and you really want to pay attention, especially around that 3. It's that small number, and the hook matters the most on that 3, whether it's 2.5, when you're looking at 3.5, and if it goes down to 2.5. 7 is the other big one when it goes to 6.5 or 7.5. And I actually tend to lean a little more to the favorite. That's my general rule. I don't always go that way with the hook, because my thought is books, they're trying to make you really uncomfortable to take the favorite. I think they're happy in these situations, and in this case, I think the book is happy to take Clemson plus 3.5 and take on the public, and I think the public will be on Ohio State. And it doesn't mean it's a guaranteed win for Clemson on that side, but it's just saying that the book is really comfortable taking that underdog with the hook and seeing what happens up against the public.
All right, let's go straight into the NFL. A lot of really good games this weekend, and it starts tonight with a massive Thursday night football game that I can't wait to watch. Oakland at Kansas City. -3, the Chiefs favored at home. It's going to be freezing. The over-under, I believe, is 45.5. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
And so the way I'm playing it, the way that I bet is the over in this game. Now, I understand that's probably a juvenile way to play it, but I look at the way that the Oakland Raiders offense is playing. I think that Kansas City can score if they need to keep up because of this Raiders defense. I'm a little bit nervous about it because it's a short week and it's cold and all those things, and it's a huge game, so a lot of times coaches call it more conservatively than not. But 45.5 just seems really, really low to me. So I'm taking more. The only bet I'm playing tonight is the over. What about you?
Yeah, I like the over as well, and that's what I'm on here tonight. And the recreational bettor tends to look at rain and cold weather and snow mostly when they're looking at weather. But really, it's the wind for me that has the biggest impact. And although it'll be cold, it's not going to be crazy windy or anything like that. So what I like here in terms of the over, the Raiders on the number 4 passing attack in the NFL, and the Chiefs defense, as much as it's been talked about this year, is giving up over 300 yards, 318 yards passing per game in its last 3. So I think the Raiders are going to get some points, and then the Chiefs offense, they've been able to run the ball a little bit, had one of the best running games last week, and that's going up against one of the worst attacks ranked. Raiders ranked 29th against the rush in the NFL this season. So I think strength versus weakness on offense on both sides, and offense versus defense both sides in this game. I really like the over as well.
Denver at the Titans. The Titans, I think, around a 1-point favorite. I don't know if that line has moved more or not. I'll be at this game potentially if I get back in time on Sunday. Huge game for both teams. Denver trying to avoid ending up potentially in a real competitive race for the wild card. The Titans trying to win the AFC South. If the Titans win, they're in decent shape coming down the stretch with games against the Jags and the Texans, both winnable games. If Denver wins, they're in decent shape. Tough close to the schedule for them too. What do you see in this one? And who's going to start at quarterback, and how much does it matter, Trevor Siemian versus Paxton Lynch?
Well, I think it's looking like Siemian is going to start, and I do think it does really help Denver. I think Siemian is the better option there for them, so I think it does matter. It's probably worth 1.5 to 2 points against the spread for me. And Tennessee, I think Tennessee might win this one as well, and I'm not sure Denver can score enough to keep up. And I know how good their defense is, but since week 6, no QB has a higher passer rating than Mariota. No QB has accounted for more touchdowns, 23 than him, and the Titans have been the number 1 scoring offense with over 30 points a game since week 6. So the other side of that is the secondary. You and I have talked about this, how bad this Tennessee secondary is. Oh, it's so
fucking awful. John Campbell, you and I could play secondary at about the same rate of success that the Titans secondary has played so far this season.
Yeah, and with the offense and that secondary combined, it's no surprise then that 8 of the last 9 games are played over for Tennessee. So I like the over in this one as well, and that's the play I'll be making here.
I love Marcus Mariota. I've got to bet on him. I'm going to bet on him, but I'm very nervous about this game because the Tennessee Titans have put me into so many awful situations rooting and betting for them over the years. Cincinnati at the Browns. You've been betting the Browns a lot. The Vegas actually loves the Browns. They're 0-12. Tell me you're not still betting on the Browns.
Yeah, no, I stopped a while ago and have been some of my biggest bets of the season have been on the other side, and early on I got off that train. I was the short money was on the Browns early, and I guess it makes sense that it was an undervalued team, but you have to make adjustments. We talked about this last week as well, I think, when we were talking about getting off the under train with Wisconsin, and the Browns have certainly won. This has been free money betting against the Browns for weeks now, and I think oddsmakers have done it again. I can't believe they're only 5.5-point underdogs here against Cincinnati, and I don't know how a bye week is going to help them cover that number. I think maybe one of the influences, the Browns are plus 110 to go win this now this year, and I think the predominant thought is that, well, they're not going to go winless. That's really hard to do when you look at history, but I don't think with this team, I don't see how they're going to win a game, and I don't know how they're going to cover against the Bengals either, so I like the Bengals in this one.
All right, you like the Bengals. I should have mentioned, and again, it's a phrase that I love to popularize. We probably need to put it on T-shirts. Hate to brag, but I went 7-1 in the college football picks last weekend, one of the best weeks of the year. and it looks like we're going to finish around 58%. So all the Outkick picks, if you followed them, you were doing pretty well. But 7-1, with the only game we lost last week on the Outkick picks was the West Virginia performance. I thought they played better, and Baylor would play worse, but not bad at all. Yeah, I hate to brag, like I said, but I'm going to brag a lot. Seattle at Green Bay. Is Aaron Rodgers back? That's basically what you're betting on here, right? And how healthy is his hamstring? Green Bay -3. Seattle, I don't know if you agree with me, has been one of the most enigmatic teams to bet on this year. Sometimes they look incredible. Other times they look like they are a disaster. What do you like on Seattle, Green Bay? -3, the Packers are favored, 46.5. Both these teams really very enigmatic, yet they have such good quarterbacks and such, solid kind of talent surrounding them at times, you would think, that it's tough to make a pick here.
Yeah, I love Seattle in this one. This is actually one of my favorite picks of the week. And Seattle has been up and down this season, but for me, I feel like I can point to good reasons why they've been up and down. I think the injury to Wilson early on was a big part of why they weren't playing that great. 2 weeks ago, they had a terrible game against Tampa Bay. The O-line was awful, and their starting center, Justin Britt, was out. And we've talked about the importance all year on the show about the center and his role to the O-line and the offense. So Britt was back last week, and the O-line had its best game of the season, most points, most yards of the season. And I just think that they're going to have another great game. I know Earl Thomas is out, and that's been a big storyline for Seattle this week, but I still think the secondary is really good. I think there's a bit of an overreaction with Rodgers being back. I think Seattle's going to win big. I think this line's way too low.
All right, the Cowboys could theoretically lock up the NFC home field playoff advantage. Certainly they'd lock up the NFC East, but they would really basically lock up home field throughout the entirety of the playoffs if they could go on the road and win at the Giants. The only game they lost all season was the opener against the Giants. They've since won 11 in a row. The Cowboys, I believe, are favored by 3. Am I correct in this? And that the over-under is 47.5? What side do you like in this one?
Well, I think this is one of those ones that most bettors look at it and really love the Cowboys, and I think books know that. So that's one thing you kind of want to be cautious of coming into it. And if you are looking to play the Giants, there are a couple reasons here for that. They've covered the last 4 meetings against Dallas, and the Cowboys come in, they haven't covered in their last 2 games. So Dallas has also been really bad against the pass in its last 3 games, over 300 yards against there. And the Giants are a lot better at home this season than they are on the road, and their passing game, they get over 300 yards passing per game at home this season. So those are all reasons to look at the Giants, and I think books are happy to take the Giants for those reasons and go up against the public, but I still like the Cowboys. I just think they're the better team. I think they're going to bounce back and cover a spread this week.
All right, so you like the Cowboys. I probably will take the over in this game. I feel like 47.5 is a little bit low. Monday Night Football, Ravens-Pats. The Patriots are a favorite. Is this the first real opportunity against a challenging opponent that we get to see the Patriots play without Rob Gronkowski? What's the play here?
Yeah, they're pretty banged up. I'm leaning towards the Ravens in this one. They have a way of kind of giving the Pats a hard time here. And the road team has covered. They're 6-1 against the spread in the last 7 meetings here. So, and the Ravens are also 5-0 against the spread in the last 5 Monday nighters. I think this game might go under too. One of the overlooked aspects of this game is these 2 teams are tied as the number 2 scoring defenses in the NFL. So I think this is going to be a low-scoring grind of the game. That's why it feels like too many points to me as well.
If there are any questions at all with games, we've hit a bunch. You can go back and watch it. I'm Clay Travis. He's John Campbell. This is the Odd Shark Outkick the Show gambling special. We are moving it to Thursday now that college football is basically over, and we will, in terms of like week-to-week action. And so we'll continue to gamble preview games for you for college football bowl games as well. But since there are a lot of NFL games that'll be Thursday night, important games, whatnot, we're going to move it to Thursday afternoon. We talked about Army-Navy already. Any additional questions or games that you guys have out there, I'll respond now. Facebook Live is right here. and Periscope is right here. John Campbell, anything else that you're playing that you like out there right now?
I think we covered most of it. I think one of the interesting elements this week is that the Niners are favored this week. The last time a 1-11 team was favored was in 1993 when the Pats were 1-11, favored by 5.5 against the Bengals, and they won that game 7-2. So that was kind of the stat of the week for bettors that jumped out at me.
People are asking, got a couple of questions on Periscope and on Facebook too. People asking about New Orleans at Tampa Bay.
Yeah, wow. What a tough one there. Tampa Bay is the team. I just finished telling everybody that they're probably the team in the NFL that I've had the hardest time with figuring out this week. And when I'm talking about Seattle, I feel like I can point to reasons why they've been up and down. But with Tampa Bay, I don't know as much. I am leaning more towards Tampa Bay in that one. I just think the Saints defense is going to have to hold up, but I'm not sure it can on the road against a team that seems to be continually improving.
All right, well, we talked about virtually every game. John Campbell, thank you for the time. We will be back next Thursday to break down every game that's going on. Thanks again to Oddshark for presenting this show. I am live in Baltimore tomorrow with the morning radio show. John Campbell, thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Clay and Jody.
You can find John Campbell at Johnny Oddshark at Johnny Oddshark on Twitter, and he's fantastic. My thanks once more to USAA for bringing us up here to do the Army-Navy game. You can watch the show, like I said, if you happen to be in downtown Baltimore, maybe you work in downtown Baltimore. I'll be doing the show live from 6 to 9 a.m. at the Baltimore Convention Center here at the Inner Harbor for Army-Navy. Really cool experience if you haven't been here before, and it should be pretty outstanding. And also, thanks to everybody for all the questions and the comments. This has been Outkick the Show. I am your fearless host, Clay Travis. DBAP, don't be a pussy, and we will hopefully make you a lot of money starting tonight. I've got the over on Oakland at Kansas City. I love you guys. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. This has been the Oddshark Outkick the Show Gambling Special.